Editor Kari-Singhan passed the spatial ring to Hu Nu with a thought in his heart. Hu Nu's appetite was vast as a bottomless pit, so even if she were to stray and lose her way by accident, she would not need to fear hunger so long as she carried a spatial ring stuffed full of provisions. Liu Yutong and Li Xichan could only accept it and nod, yet at the same time they let out a breath of relief. There was only this single ring, so if it were bestowed upon either one, the other would inevitably feel dejected. Could they truly not even contend against a little girl? The next few days, Ling Han always felt the air around them was somewhat strange. The times Liu Yutong and Li Xichan quarrelled grew fewer and fewer, making him feel as if the sun had risen from the west. Utterly unbelievable. After yet another day, Ling Han finally found the place recorded in the logbook. By the riverside stood 2 stone pillars that astonishingly soared to 330 meters tall, their shapes strikingly distinct. This was the place where the hidden stumps lay. They waited. After 5 hours, black poles suddenly surfaced one after another. They definitely did not come from the riverbed. It was as in the central hall, appearing as if conjured from thin air. Ling Han did not hesitate and said, "You guys go in first!" His great hand curled, drawing the 3 girls into the black tower as he sprang out. Shua! 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 He was like a dragonfly skimming water, the tips of his toes tapping each stump as he swept swiftly toward the far bank. Shua, at this moment, a graceful figure flew out, following tightly behind Ling Han. Ling Han took a sudden stride and arrived at the opposite shore. Glancing back, he saw a young lady was also crossing the river. With that single look, he could not help but glance again. This girl was unexpectedly at spiritual ocean tier. Looking more closely, Ling Han could not help but be stunned. Liu Yutong and Li Xichan could both be counted as peerless beauties, their reputation far-reaching in the imperial city, where they were hailed as the twin pearls. Yet before this young lady, they were clearly dulled. This girl was certainly a beauty that could be ranked among the top 10. Ling Han had seen in his entire life, even forcing her way into his top 3. Given that he had once been a heaven tier in his previous life, how many beauties had he seen? Countless. For this girl to enter his top 10, it meant she was exceptionally beautiful, far beyond mortal measure. The crucial point was that she was young, at most 20 years of age, a 20-year-old cultivator at spiritual ocean tier. Even Ling Han nodded in acknowledgement. Placed among the geniuses he had encountered in his past life, she would still make the grade. How could such a genius emerge from a place as small as the 9 nations of the desolate north? Fairy Chi! Fairy Chi! A holler came from the opposite riverbank. Gu Fenghua's figure appeared. He had clearly come here in pursuit of the girl. Ling Han suddenly recalled that this fellow had said he'd encountered an exceptional fairy and followed that fairy into the mystery realm. It seemed that this was the girl. She truly was stunningly beautiful. However, at this moment, a sudden change occurred. The stumps vanished. Not one after another, but all of them disappeared in an instant, as if they had never existed at all. Gu Fenghua abruptly halted. He was a pervert for sure, but he was not an idiot. He would not dare cross the Thunder River. The girl was also shocked, but not in the least panicked. With a light shout, flames gushed forth from her body and formed a propulsive force that made her rapidly falling figure halt in midair, gliding toward the opposite riverbank. Her white robes fluttered. The flames danced. She resembled a flying fairy. Gu Fenghua stared, suddenly lost in ease and carefreeness, but then immediately slapped himself and said, "Now's not the time to admire. Beauty Chi, go for it, you can do it!" This fellow was truly a buffoon. Ling Han shook his head, and as his gaze swept past the girl, he knew she had no chance of reaching the far bank. The girl clearly knew this as well, and her delicate face revealed an unwilling expression. Was she to die here through a single careless misstep? Sure, at this moment, a strand of metal silk like a silkworm's thread shot out and wrapped around her slender waist. A tremendous force surged, yanking her rapidly toward the opposite bank. She would not miss such a chance. She borrowed that force to straighten her back, and in an instant released astonishing elasticity as she drew her body upward in an unimaginable manner. Ling Han withdrew his hand, and Shu, the origin gold, returned to being a bracelet. With the support of that external force, the girl lightly landed on the ground. Her body trembled violently, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. When she had erupted with flames, it had cost her greatly. "Good!" Seeing the girl stand firmly upon the ground, Gu Fenghua immediately leapt in joy. He waved at Ling Han and said, "As expected of the man I think highly of, good job!" Those words sounded so uncomfortable that Ling Han instantly shivered, as expected of a pervert. The girl produced a medicinal pill and swallowed it, then nodded at Ling Han. "Thank you." Ling Han nodded and said, "It's nothing, no need for formalities." "Having my life saved, Chi Hualan must repay it," the girl said again, expression prudent. Since she was so insistent, Ling Han nodded and said, "Okay, but there's no need to repay it with your body." "Pa," Chi Hualan spat inwardly. Even if you wanted to, there was no way. She would never marry an average man. Yet with this jest, her tone turned colder. "You don't have to worry about that. Ling Han, take care of Fairy Chi." Gu Fenghua yelled from the opposite riverbank, clearly unwilling to serve as a light bulb. "You know that man?" Chi Hualan asked Ling Han, a hint of disdain in her eyes. Ling Han was speechless. He and this pervert had crossed paths twice, and already they were friends. He nodded and said, "He is my friend." The disdain in Chi Hualan's eyes deepened. One who could befriend a pervert could hardly be any more normal oneself. She said nothing further. She would repay him for saving her life, but she definitely did not wish to associate with Ling Han in any other way. Even exchanging another word felt disgusting. Ling Han noticed her expression and sneered inwardly. He had saved her on a whim. In this vast world, at every moment, a talented cultivator would lose their life by accident somewhere. So her death would not have made much difference. He paid her no more heed and looked ahead. From here onward was the true mystery realm that only a few had set foot in over several thousand years. However, nothing could be seen clearly. It was exceedingly strange. Separated by the Thunder River, it could be seen clearly that mountains and forests lay there, and the land could be clearly made out 5,000 meters away. Yet, on this side of the river, fog was everywhere. One could not even see clearly 3 meters ahead, let alone 5,000. Strange! Ling Han and Chi Hualan both this was the effect of a formation. "It's extremely dangerous here, so I advise you to stay here. Wait for the floating bridge to appear again and return to the opposite shore. Don't throw away your life in vain," Chi Hualan said. This girl was unexpectedly cold on the outside, yet warm on the inside. Ling Han smiled faintly and said, "Thanks for your concern. Only ghosts would be concerned about you." Chi Hualan snorted. "I just don't want you to die before I repay you for saving my life." Ahem. Translator Reverie to Kurisu. This girl truly knew not how to speak, each sentence as sharp as a blade. Ling Han only smiled faintly and said, "Rest assured, I will certainly live to 100. "I worry." Chi Hualan snorted again. Ling Han could not help but think of Lu Ru, who also liked to snort, caring yet proud. After he branded Chi Hualan so in his heart, he took out the logbook and peered into it once more. Chi Hualan naturally did not know how precious the thing in Ling Han's hand was. It could even allow one to pass through the formation. She sat down cross-legged. Though she had swallowed a medicinal pill, she still had to coordinate it with the circulation of origin power to mend her injuries. Ling Han very quickly shut the logbook and began striding ahead. Though Chi Hualan was healing, she did not dare be careless. Naturally, she kept a portion of her attention on Ling Han, in case he suddenly attacked and tried to subdue her. She knew all too well how her looks drove men mad, yet Ling Han merely walked away. He walked away just like that. This fellow was her saviour after all. Even if he shamelessly stuck by her side, she would not draw her sword to chase him off, right? Yet Ling Han let such a splendid chance slip by, making her look as if she had seen a ghost. Loosen the reins only to better capture later? Chi Hualan thought so, at first, but soon she could no longer hear Ling Han's footsteps. As if she alone remained in this world, he truly left. Chi Hualan's face twitched. Though she had never believed she could charm every man beneath heaven, she had seen countless gazes that could not tear themselves from her, and now a freak who did not care about her suddenly appeared, nearly making her snap. This man said he did not need her to use her body to repay him. He was not joking. He truly thought so. Chihualan thought it back and nearly went berserk at being given the cold shoulder. On the other side, Gu Fenghua called out, "Fairy Chi, come back! Get lost!" Chihualan was still fuming, so she naturally shot Gu Fenghua a murderous glance, shattering her fairy-like aura completely. She drew a deep breath and sat back down again. That was merely a fool she did not need to mind. She told herself so, yet her fists clenched involuntarily. If Ling Han appeared before her now, she would definitely give him a beating. Ling Han took great strides forward. In this life, his heart was placed upon the path of martial arts. No matter how peerless Chihualan's beauty was, admiring it for a moment was enough. He followed the records in the logbook, paying close attention not to step wrongly. Otherwise, he could be trapped forever within this mist, never able to leave again. He could only hope Chihualan would not lose her calm and rashly charge in. But he was not reckless. It was not certain the logbook was still reliable, not to mention that after all these years, the formation might have changed. Perhaps this was a trap, set to lure others inside. Ling Han drew blood-sucking origin gold into a thread of silk and fastened it to the riverside. As he advanced, he laid the line behind him in case he lost his direction. Then he would still be able to return by following the line. He had wandered ancient sites countless times. His experience was naturally abundant. The logbook apparently had no issues. After 10 minutes, the mist dispersed. Its density could not be compared to before. It was gloomy here, like midnight under dim moonlight, dusky, yet not so dark that one could not see one's own fingers, an extremely constrained and oppressive environment. Ling Han flicked his finger and retrieved the blood-sucking origin gold. He now had complete confidence that he could return. By reason, when the Mystery Realm's door closed, it would expel all outsiders within. Yet it was rumoured that those who crossed the river vanished from that point on. None ever appeared again, meaning two possibilities. First, once people reached this point, they would no longer be expelled. And second, all who came here died, so naturally they could not go out. Not knowing what dangers lay hidden here, Ling Han did not let the three girls out. On the contrary, his mind was taut as a bowstring, ready to enter the Black Tower at any time. Pa, a shadow suddenly attacked like a sharp arrow, thrusting straight at Ling Han. Ling Han decided in an instant, and a black sword immediately surfaced from the Black Tower. He reached out and seized it, slashing toward the shadow. The chill sword struck and burst into blinding brilliance, forcing the black figure to reveal its true form. It was actually a rattan! Ling Han's sword lashed out, releasing 6 streaks of sword chi. With a muffled sound, the rattan was struck, and it immediately began to thrash as black-coloured liquid poured out, as if a human arm had been severed by the blade. Shua! 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 At this moment, several hundred rattans stabbed toward him. Ling Han focused his gaze, opened his left hand, and instantly turned blood-sucking origin gold into a screen that blocked the oncoming strikes. Poo, poo, poo! Dull impacts rang out, and the force behind the attacks shoved Ling Han back again and again. He fiercely retracted blood-sucking origin gold. Using this brief buffer, he had already prepared Mysterious 3000, and then unleashed his sword with ferocity. Shua! 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 Dozens of sword shadows surfaced at once. Spiritual chi gathered and swiftly condensed into physical form. Go! Ling Han shouted, controlling dozens of sword lights to counterattack the rattans. This strike was too domineering. Severed rattans flailed wildly, and black-coloured liquid poured down like rain. Hong, amid a trembling roar, a massive black figure surfaced. It was a giant tree, yet it tore itself out of the earth. Countless roots intertwined beneath it, forming 4 legs that allowed it to walk upon the ground. Evil demon tree! Ling Han's expression shifted slightly. An evil demon tree is a 3rd-stage monster spirit that isn't worrisome on its own, but they always come in groups. As the words fell, another giant tree appeared, then 3 more, a 4th one, and their numbers kept increasing, forming a whole crowd. The evil demon tree's tree heart is an exceedingly fine tonic. It's just that when so many appear, it's difficult to contend with them. Ling Han muttered, Hong. Innumerable rattans launched, and at least a dozen evil demon trees attacked him at once. Ling Han hurriedly dodged, while waving his sword to counterattack from time to time. Yet these evil demon trees were simply too huge, and like his dead tree body, their trunks were tough and durable. When Sword Chi struck, it only scraped bark. He was about to hide within the Black Tower to temporarily avoid them, but the strange fire sent him a thought, wanting to come out to fight these evil demon trees. Fire overcomes wood, worth a try. With Ling Han's thought, Hong, the strange fire immediately rose, radiating a powerful presence. This strange fire had been nurtured from the ossified remains of a shattering void tear cultivator. Its innate quality was astonishingly high. The moment the strange fire emerged, the evil demon trees instantly retreated one after another, their movements revealing intense fear. Ha ha, never thought my chance would come so quickly. Don't run. Leave your tree hearts. Ling Han launched his attack.